Beth Holloway, Natalee's mother, is back with us. Beth, no one who has not walked in your shoes can possibly understand what it's like to be you. I mean, you've got to walk in your shoes to understand it. But in watching that videotape, I'm enraged. You say you feel better. Explain that to me.
Well, I think now that I know what it's like to know the answers, I would have to say that not knowing is the sheer hell. I mean, that was definitely my hell. And knowing, you know, even though as painful and difficult as it is, and yeah, I want to come through the TV and I want to choke him to death, absolutely, I want to kill him, you know, like that. But, you know, Greta, I have to look back and think, you know, which is worse? Which is worse, not knowing or knowing? And not knowing is the sheer hell, absolutely.
Have you had any conversations, or is John Q. Kelly with the prosecutor to find out where it goes from here? Because there's some discussion about whether there will be a prosecution, whether he'll be arrested, and even whether his statements are murder or something else.
No, I hadn't yet, so I know that hopefully over the next with the upcoming weeks, something will come about, Greta. I'm just hoping that, you know, now something can be done to move forward, and, you know, I don't know what. I mean, I think that all I could do was just, you know, hope for an answer, and of course, you know, justice is just out of my hands. Of course, I'd love to see it, but I just don't know what will become of it. I don't know.
Now, in the tape, he says that that she was shaking, that something happened, that she fell unconscious, and that he later summoned someone to get rid of her. Do you think he was completely truthful, or do you think he murdered her?
Well, I have to look back on as, you know, Urim is a 17-year-old boy, and in no way can make a determination whether a young woman is alive or not. So I would have to go with that Natalee was alive. She could have very well been in a coma, and he disposed of her body alive. But there's no way we can go back and find out if she was alive or not, Greta. Absolutely, we can never recapture that, never.
Do you think she was in a coma or shaking or whatever her condition was because of her own drinking, or do you think that she'd been slipped something?
I think absolutely she'd been slipped something, Greta, absolutely. And I think that any medical professional would tend to agree to. I mean, you know, Natalee had no history. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in her medical history to have something like that occur without having been given something. And we have to go back, and we know that Urim was in charge of her drinks. We know that Urim purchased her drinks and paid for her drinks. We know that Urim served her drinks. So absolutely they had the ability to place a GHB, ecstasy. I don't even know what these drugs are that these males use to these, you know, these perpetrators in bars slip these females, but yes.
Yeah, well, you know what,
I think she was drugged.
If I were the prosecutor, I'd want to find out what condition she was in when she left, if she was simply just intoxicated or whatever, going to the Cowpo car, because if she's walking on her own volition, you know, that would make a difference to me, because if you take a drug, even if you took it in the bar, it probably wouldn't hit you for 15, 20 minutes. You know, so, I mean, if she'd been slipped something, or slipped something while she was in the car.
So I guess I'm not clear exactly. Well, I'm not clear. I'm not exactly clear on. I know that she was seen, I believe, leaving the establishment with one of the suspects escorting her by the elbow, almost as if guiding her. So I'm not, you know, I'm not as certain about that as I have been about many other details. But I think that has always been a question in the back of our minds, that Natalee had been slipped some type of drug.
Well, I am curious what some of the people who are hostile to you in the country of Aruba will now have to say, and we're going to keep our eyes on that, and we're going to stay on top of this. Beth, as always, thank you. I'm glad you got this answer, and I hope you get all the justice that should come with your answers. Thank you, Beth.
Oh, me too. Thanks, Greta.
Coming up, did a man named Delry toss Natalee Holloway's body off a boat? We're going to ask Delry. He's next. And later, caught on tape, Urim says Natalee was shaking and then unresponsive. Now, this is the disturbing question. Did the Aruban police know about that and hide that? We have news for you. It's something you've not heard before.